What's going on, people? So we continue on with this little mini series leading into the launch of a new generation of game consoles. We are less than 3 weeks out from the launch of the PlayStation 5 and both Xbox Series consoles. And in the first part of the video, which if y'all haven't checked out, I'll have a link to it somewhere floating on the screen here. I talked about why I am so excited for this new generation of game consoles by comparison to the previous generation, which is the one we're in right now with PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And in this video, I'm going to answer the age-old question that I think every single person has gotten asked leading up to the launch of a new generation of systems. Hey, which console are you buying and why? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the TLDW version of this video is I'm buying both. I am buying both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. In fact, I've got both of them pre-ordered right here. And I'm going to tell you exactly why, because if you listen to videos that I've done before in the past, when I was speaking on which console I am going to get and when, I always said that if I was going to get a next-gen console, it probably wouldn't be for around 9 months or so, because just being the person that I am, and I don't like to buy all the new shiny tech products at launch, I like to wait for them to get a few shipments out so they can iron out whatever bugs and kinks they've gotten in the systems. Because the last thing I want is for me to buy a system day one and then 3 years down the road, you find out that there's a bug exclusive to every single one of the launch systems ever, which freaking sucks. And when you factor in that both the consoles really do not have the most compelling launch lineup available, it just seems to me like I would be buying the consoles just to be a part of the conversation, which, let's be honest, that's what everybody does when something new comes out. And of course, the longer you wait when it comes to a game console, the better value it is for you, the consumer, because the price of the system comes down while the game library increases exponentially. Unless you're a Wii U. And that was my thought process until the PlayStation 5 pre-orders went up and I kind of secured one by accident. So the story about how I secured a PlayStation 5 pre-order is it's actually kind of funny, but I think it might get me beat up. Because I wasn't really even trying to pre-order the console, it just sort of happened. You know, I always thought I'd be muttering those words to my firstborn. So as many of y'all know, when the PlayStation 5 pre-orders went up, it was an absolute friggin' disaster. So Sony essentially gave people a last-minute heads-up warning of when the pre-orders would go live, and then all of the retailers decided to respond by saying, hey, we're going to sell the PlayStation 5 pre-orders whenever we see fit. And that went about as well as you would expect. There were tons of people out there who were signed up for the email to get their opportunity to buy a PlayStation console. There were tons of people who were lining up in virtual queues to secure a pre-order. And then all of a sudden, these same retailers just go ahead and sell the consoles randomly at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, because that's what people do. And so you end up with my predicament, which was essentially, I was on Twitter, which is how all of these stories end up. I swear to God, I'm going to meet my future wife on Twitter. And the homie Wario64 had tweeted that the PlayStation 5 was available at Target. So I got curious. I'm thinking to myself, yo, he just tweeted this 2 minutes ago. It's only been 1 minute. There's no way I'm getting a PlayStation console. That bitch is probably sold out by now. So I hit the link, I'm on Target, and I see they got the PlayStation 5 there. Oh, it's probably sold out, of course. This is what always happens. Scroll down. Oh, that shit is in stock. Let me try adding that to my cart, add to the cart. And you know how these things go about. You try to press add to your cart, boom, it's sold out. Oh shit, that bitch is in my cart? But it's checkout. That's the real deal breaker for you, because it's once you put all your card details and you hit confirm payment, that's where you get slapped with that harsh dose of reality of, ha, you thought you were gonna get a next gen console? Bitch, you thought! Let me just go ahead and put in my 16 digits and then the security code. Let's see what I guess I own a PlayStation 5 now. And yeah, that's basically the story, ladies and gentlemen. I pre-ordered a PlayStation 5 just because I was in the right place at the right time, or in this case, the wrong time, considering it should not have been sold at that time at all. And I was kind of going back and forth on whether or not I would keep my pre-order. I was thinking to myself, yo, maybe I could sell this pre-order to somebody else, make some extra money. And I know what y'all are saying. Oh my God, Neil, you're just like one of those scalpers. You're just like one of those people who's going to buy a console. You have no reason in the world to ever want to play that console. And you're just going to sell it for a markup. What are you going to mark it up for? $200, $300, $500? Well, what's going on, Neo? What is your price? And to answer all of those questions, yes. That is what I was going to do because I normally don't scalp stuff. I'm never in that particular realm. But I had a few more weeks until launch to make up my mind on whether or not I would go about doing these things, whether or not I would scalp it or whether or not I would keep it. Either way, at the end of the day, if I decided to keep it, hey, there's my PlayStation 5 pre-order for the entire generation. I'm good to go. So that's how I pre-ordered the PlayStation 5, but what about the Xbox Series X? Neo, you've gone on record, I've seen it in your videos, saying that there is no reason in the world for you personally to get an Xbox Series X because there's no compelling games at launch that will really show off the horsepower of the Series X. There is no quality Xbox exclusives in the ecosystem that pimp out the power of the Series X. You'd basically be buying the Series X to play multiplats and that's it. Why would you do that if you have a PC? In addition to that, I was also buying time for my Xbox All Access subscription to hit the minimum point where I could go ahead and upgrade to the Series X. So for those who aren't aware, I purchased an Xbox One X earlier this year as part of the Xbox All Access program, which is essentially Microsoft's way of selling Xbox to you, the consumer. Think of it like a phone plan. That's essentially what they're doing here. You pay $0 down up front, you pay $30 a month, you get an Xbox, you get Game Pass, and you pay that $30 until you pay off the system. Or at least in my situation where I could hit a particular threshold where I can upgrade to the new generation. I can trade in my Xbox One X, I can get the Series X, and I can continue paying that $35 a month. And I think it worked out great in my favor considering when I went ahead and bought the Xbox One X through this program, Microsoft had just come out and said that for the first 1 to 2 years of the Series X's life, all of their games would be cross-gen compatible. And I think that's just Phil Spencer's fancy way of saying, yeah, all these games were already in development for the Xbox One. We're making a Series X version so we can release it. And yeah, that's essentially it. But let's spin it as us being more pro-consumer than Sony. Hurry, do it. Do it. Do it. Pull the trigger. Do it. Do it, motherfucker. It's so funny because they caught so much flack for that. And then you realize Sony did the exact same thing.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
That was my plan. Until the homie Wario64, which you could literally blame this whole video on him. That's basically how this is turning out. Wario64 tweeted that the Xbox Series X was in stock at Costco. And I'm over here thinking to myself, yo, he just tweeted this 2 minutes ago. It's been 1 minute since. There's no way in the world this thing is going to be available. It's not going to be in stock. Let's click the link and see what happened. Oh, snap. The Series X is in stock. But, bro, come on. You're getting a PlayStation 5. You don't need no Xbox. You gonna wait like 2 years for the Xbox. We don't get no Xbox consoles day one in this household, man. You gonna let that thing wait. Oh, wow. It's in stock. Huh, I bet. Let's see if we could buy this console at the very least. You could probably scalp this online for an extra $200, but you know, the odds of you getting this new console, slim to none, man. Slim to none. Let's just see what happens when we try to add it into the cart. Oh, it's in the cart. 16G. How does this keep happening? How does this keep happening? And yeah, that's how I secured my Xbox Series X pre-order through Costco. And I guess the fact that Costco is a membership warehouse, so not everybody in the world has access to it. So there were a lot of Xbox consoles available when I went to pre-order it. And I heard from a lot of y'all in the comments section that you were able to secure an Xbox Series X from that particular Costco deal. So if you did, comment down below. Say what up. But let's back up for a second, Neil. Let's back up. You have an Xbox One X that you just bought a few months ago. And now here you are buying the Xbox Series X. Isn't that kind of counterintuitive to why you signed up for the Xbox All Access program? Does it make sense to go out there and enter into a monthly subscription for 18 months for a console that you are now not even going to upgrade to? So why in the world would you go out there and buy a Series X at launch for $500+, dude? Isn't that essentially wasting money? And to answer all those questions, I will say yes. But I think y'all have kind of surmised by this point in the video that I have weak constitutions about these things. Now, giving credit where credit is due, Microsoft has revamped the Xbox All Access upgradability, the path towards getting a Series X. Originally, it used to be you had to make 18 months worth of equivalent payments to go ahead and upgrade to the Xbox Series X. So when you factor that out, you have 18 months of payments off of a console. When you average in all of the monthly payments, in my case, it was $25 a month. You're looking at roughly $450 if you want to go ahead and get the Xbox Series X. That is what you would have to pay to make up the difference to get the system. So in my particular situation, it wouldn't really make much sense to rent the Xbox One X console for 6 months, then have to pay all that extra money, trade in my console just to get the Series X on release in that program to spend $30 a month paying it off. It just doesn't make much sense. But in this particular scenario, Microsoft has improved upon that plan by basically letting you upgrade to the Xbox Series X without going ahead and forking over that large lump sum of cash. The only problem is that you still have to make the equivalent of 2 payments. So you'd be paying your Series X payment, which is like, let's say $35 a month, and then whatever your One X payment was, you'd be paying both those payments. So that's $55 a month to get the Series X while trading back in your One X. So it's like, what is the point? I would much rather have both the consoles, one of them fully paid off, and then one of them I would leave for testing purposes. I can maybe put it in another room if another family member wants to use it, or because this is the Xbox ecosystem and it's something that I am growing to love and enjoy, you can play games and then you can jump from console to console seamlessly. That's awesome. So what Microsoft is doing right now with the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X, I'm basically going to be able to do the same thing with the Xbox Series X and the One X. Granted, I'm not going to be able to play all the same games as the One X is running on borrowed time right now. There is going to come a point where this console does become obsolete, which kind of sucks because this was the world's most powerful console. And then now, it's literally a case of, what games will the system get within the next 2 years? But it is dope that I don't have to completely shun the Xbox One X from my daily usage. I can just use it in another room, whether it's going to be an entertainment media hub, or if another family member does want to play some type of game for their own personal enjoyment, they can do that too. And I mean, come on, that library on Game Pass? My God, they realistically do not need to buy another game ever again. And that's the end of the story, ladies and gentlemen. That is how I secured pre-orders for both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Absolutely insane, I know, but I am so excited as a gamer, as a fan of both these companies, and like I mentioned in the first part of this video, as a person who is excited for quality competition where both these companies are going to be firing on all cylinders. That shit right there is what you love to see. And that's all I got for y'all today, ladies and gentlemen. So post your comments down below about anything we discussed today. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X. Have you pre-ordered these consoles? Why? Are you getting them day one? Are you going to wait a few months? Or are you going to be the black sheep and get the Xbox Series S? Because that thing right there, that shit is sexy as fuck. I still do like that GameCube mock-up though. I really do. And from me to you for now, my name is NGS signing out. And like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.
When I come in the arena